I want to play my Fender American Original 60s Thinline Telecaster. And together with the whole 6 of you that are going to watch this video, we're going to find out if it's any good. And this video isn't like other videos out there where, you hear talking for 7.5 minutes and they only play the guitar for a minute. We're definitely going to play this quite a bit. I'll try to save the yammering until the end. And as always, signal chain is listed in the description down below, along with the chapter markers. So if you want to, bounce around from amp to amp, you can do that. That's enough talking. Let's get after it. So you can't do a review on YouTube here without actually talking about the specs. I'm going to try and do that as quickly as I can here for you. Somewhat based on the 1968 Fender Thinline Telecaster, we have an ash body, which was an option, but it should be mahogany. The Thinline is basically a somewhat semi-hollow design. We have one F-hole here, and the body is chambered. We have a bolt-on medium C-shaped maple neck. The body is finished in gloss nitrocellulose lacquer along with the neck. We have 21 frets here. They are the vintage tall frets. It's a 9.5-inch radius, which period correct should be 7.5 to 9.5, so I think we're okay there. We have the larger style Fender logo on the front of the headstock. We have the vintage F-stamped tuners, so that means there's that slot up here. You have to, that's how you kind of insert your strings. It's not the hole that you put them through. We have a mint green pickguard here that has the cool Thinline design. We have the vintage bridge, which some people, including myself, like to call it the one with the bullet saddles. It also has the cover that goes on top of it. We have a master volume and a master tone, along with a 3-way toggle switch. And of course, those control the custom Tim Shaw designed single coil pickups. But that's enough about the specs. Let's hear 5 more sound samples. Now this is the internet here, and if I don't do the next thing, and some people will cry, but it is very helpful. So what I want to do here is go through the 3 pickup positions here in a clean tone. Now, as I always say, I personally find a little more benefit to me hearing those pickup positions with a little bit of light drive. So let's go ahead and hear that. And let's go ahead and listen to the potentiometers here. So we'll hear the master volume on the bridge and then the neck, and then the master tone on the bridge and then the neck. Now, in case you are curious with the Thinline design itself compared to a regular Telecaster, I'm going to do a quick comparison, just the bridge, the middle, and then the neck positions, just so you can kind of hear them. As far as weight and everything, the Thinline is definitely a lot thinner than the Telecaster here. And let me tell you, there is a major feel difference. A lot of people do feel there's like a loss of vibration when it comes to the Thinline. One thing I can say is when you're down tuning, it's a whole heck of a lot more comfortable, at least to me, playing on a Thinline than it is on a Telecaster. A Telecaster, like the Strat position or Strat tuning that most people find, you know, to be magical is E flat. Personally, on a Telecaster, I think that is D standard. However, on a Thinline, C sharp standard or drop B is just absolutely fantastic and a joy to play in. Of course, it's only natural to want to compare a Telecaster Thinline to a Stratocaster Thinline. Now, this is a Fender Rarities Stratocaster Thinline, so it has the custom double tap pickup. So things are going to be a little different than like the Eric Johnson Thinline or what have you. But it's still nice to compare both of them, and as well to say that the Stratocaster Thinline compared to the Telecaster Thinline, there's a lot more weight to it, and you don't notice the Thinline as much as you do on the Telecaster. Now, I've also wanted to make a video doing a comparison between the ES335 to the Thinline Telecaster here. So this is going to be, I guess, a bit of a precursor to an eventual video like that. But it is only natural to want to compare both of these because this is a proper semi-hollow design, whereas this is a Thinline semi-hollow. So it's definitely a little different. I mean, when you're comparing the weight, this is a bigger body guitar, so this is definitely a lot heavier than the Thinline, but it does still have that crispness when you're down tuning on your strings. So both of these guitars do have that, which I find to be a bit of a blessing, to be honest. But let's go ahead and do a comparison, even though this is humbucker pickups and what have you. But we'll do a bridge, middle, and then neck position comparison. Now let's be very honest here, nobody's watching this video at this point, so this is basically just for me, which basically most of these videos are. So you may be curious what a Gretsch hollow body sounds like in comparison to the Thinline Telecaster here. So because I really want to hear it, and I am interested in doing a comparison between both of these as well, let's go ahead and listen to, shockingly, the bridge, middle, and then the neck positions. So now that you've heard all of the different sound samples, and more than likely you've skipped some parts of this video to actually get the, rundown of is this a good guitar or not, let's actually talk about that. I love this guitar, so it's hard for me not to say that this is a good guitar, because it definitely is. It's also one of those guitars that I don't play as often as I absolutely should, probably because I have a very large selection. I have about 50 electrics, so some guitars kind of go by the wayside that shouldn't, and man, is this one of them. Now, I made mention earlier that you really do feel that thin line when you're playing this, so you do feel the somewhat semi-hollowness of this. And what I mean by that is the strings feel a heck of a lot crisper than they do on a regular Telecaster, or basically any other guitar that's not semi-hollow. So when it comes to down tuning, your strings feel a lot more crisper when you're playing. So it kind of allows you to, just like on an ES335, to start tuning lower and lower and lower without the strings feeling absolutely too loose or things coming across too muddy in your hands. And because of that, playing leads on this are absolutely a joy. it's really nice because you're able to actually dig in. However, at the same time, in comparison to a regular Telecaster, I can understand when some people say the thin lines feel like they're missing some of the presence, I guess you would say, some of that mid and high mids in comparison to a non-thin line Telecaster. So that is something that you do feel, especially when you're playing leads. So it can seem a little off when you're playing if you're going back to back. But again, I do find it to be an absolute joy, and you're able to really dig things in when you're playing leads on this. And as well, strumming and playing like individual notes and such are an absolute joy on this. That's really where this thing shines. In comparison to playing on a Telecaster, like a non-thin line Telecaster, the strumming and just some of the individual notes, because of the crisper strings that you're going to get, or the crisper feel, I guess you would say, that you're going to get from the thin line, it just kind of promotes continuous play, I guess you would say. Not that a regular Telecaster doesn't do that, but it is just a little better, at least in my experience, strumming and playing individual notes on this in comparison to a regular Telecaster, because you kind of feel it a little more. But when it comes to playing chords, when you're not just, strumming or playing the individual notes, I would definitely have to say a regular Telecaster would have more benefit over a thin line Telecaster, just because of the overall feel that you're going to get from a regular Telecaster in comparison to this one. And the custom designed Tim Shaw designed pickups here are very good. They're rather strong. I don't know though if I could sit there and blindly pick them out in comparison to some of the other Telecaster pickups that are out there, but they kind of do their job rather well in this one, and I don't feel that they're any type of like a downfall in this guitar. The biggest downfalls to me personally to this guitar here, number one, and this is just a personal thing, because I have a hard time with the vintage slotted style tuners where it's not the hole that you put the string through. That's just, I'm not as familiar with it. I think I only have it on 3 different guitars, but I find it takes a lot longer for me to change the strings. And even then, I'm always a lot more paranoid when I'm doing the high E string, because I know if I don't cut the string at the proper length, I'm going to be missing out on one high E string, because, to be honest, it's going to unwind and come off. But that's a me thing, not really, a downfall that everyone will have with this. A lot of people are better at it, a whole heck of a lot better at it than I am. But I have to say the biggest downfall with this guitar here is the nitro finish, which hurts my soul to say, because I love nitro finish on guitars, especially on Fenders. I have it on 2 other Fenders, and they age a lot nicer. So if you do get dings or anything like that, it doesn't look like, it looks proper, it looks natural in comparison to poly finish. And the poly finish, I find, just, I don't know, it's almost like it's too shiny, and you kind of second guess as to whether or not you're feeling the wood through the finish, if that makes any sense. So that's generally why I do prefer the nitro finish on guitars. However, this one here, when people talk about some of the Gibsons being oversprayed to where, you're playing it for like a half hour or something like that, and you rub the back of the neck and it starts to feel like there's putty or something on the back of the neck, this guitar is the worst for that I've ever played. I could play this for like 10 minutes, and if my hand starts to warm up, if I get a little bit of sweat, this thing is just caked, absolutely caked in that. And like, even doing this right now, I'm starting to feel a little bit of it. And also, one thing I notice, I don't know if it's just maybe the original series, even though they've moved to the American Vintage 2 series, but I don't know if it was designed to kind of age a lot faster. Maybe that is something that they tried to do, but every time I hang this up at the end of playing it, I notice that over the next couple of days, you see the like mark where my arm was, and it's a lot rougher here, especially. So I think that just the nitro is oversprayed. Maybe it's just this one. I hope it is just this one. But the nitro is oversprayed on the neck, and I don't know, just not sturdy enough on the body itself. But that might be something that you're actually interested in, because a lot of people with the like original series or the vintage series, they do really like the fact that sometimes these guitars can rapidly age. So it looks like an old instrument because of that. Just for me, I'm totally cool with that, but I'd rather it be a natural progression rather than, you know, something that happens in a month. But all in all, this is a fantastic guitar and has been a really great experience for me for like the year or so, or year and a half that I've owned it. Like I said, I really enjoy playing it. I wish I played it more. But the biggest downfall for me personally, the tuners and the nitro that's on here. It's just oversprayed on the neck and not sturdy on the body. But that's enough talking. Thanks for watching.